What is the decision of the US President?
On the 2nd of April 2025, US President Donald Trump addressed a group of automotive industry professionals in the Rose Garden at the White House, explaining the latest executive decision. President Trump said that other countries gain significant advantages in trade deals with the United States. To immediately address the imbalance, he announced the implementation of a new policy of reciprocal tariffs to ensure that the U.S. economy benefits more from these trade relationships.
Bangladesh is 74%, so you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Aaron. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here. Thank you, fellas. But you see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating.
How will this executive order be implemented?
The full text of the US President's executive order has been published on the official White House website. According to the order, a 10% tariff will be imposed on all goods imported starting 5th of April. Additionally, the increased reciprocal tariffs will be implemented from the 9th of April.
What is the situation regarding Sri Lanka?
President Donald Trump has highlighted that Sri Lanka imposes an 88% tariff on goods imported from the United States. While this rate could be matched, the new executive decision stipulates that the United States will impose a 44% tariff on goods imported from Sri Lanka.
President Trump and his administration has imposed a 44% reciprocal tariff. According to the sources, how they have calculated the reciprocal tariff is they have taken the trade balance between Sri Lanka and US, that is the difference of imports and exports between Sri Lanka and US, and they have divided it by the total exports from Sri Lanka to US, and that's how they have arrived, it seems, on the 88%. And then they have mentioned that they are claiming half of it as 44% as the reciprocal tariff. So according to President Trump, he says what it means is that if someone imposes tariff on US products, that they are going to charge the same or half of it in this case against the other country. In economics, comparing the trade balance between countries is not the most sensible way to analyze it because we have to import from some other markets and we are exporting to some other markets. So comparing between country to country may not be the best way to analyze the trade deficit between countries. But however, in this case, that has been the case.
Which other countries are affected by the new US tariffs?
According to President Trump's executive decision, the highest tariffs has been imported on China with a rate of 34%. Other key trading partners affected include European Union at 20%, Israel 17%, India 26%, Bangladesh 37%, Myanmar 44%, Indonesia 32%, Laos 48%, Thailand 36%, Cambodia 49%, Madagascar 47%.
What is the potential impact on Sri Lanka?
In 2024, 23% of Sri Lanka's total exports were to the United States, with 70% of these exports being apparel. The total revenue from exports to the US amounted to $3 billion, with over $2 billion coming from apparel.
Will the new US tariff policy affect Sri Lanka's apparel industry?
While President Trump has announced the basic tariff policy and the increased rates, the specific tariffs for individual goods have not yet been disclosed. Although the maximum tariff is set at 44%, the rates may vary for different products. Another important factor is that similar tariffs have been imposed on other countries competing with Sri Lanka in the apparel industry. For instance, Bangladesh 37%, India 26%, Vietnam 46%, Thailand 36%, Cambodia 49%, China 34%.
මේ ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙන වාර්තාව ලංකාව ඉලක්ක කරගෙන ලංකාව
This report does not specifically target Sri Lanka. The US report on tariffs applies to all their trading partners. If the US experiences a trade deficit with a partner, meaning the partner imposes higher tariffs than the US has raised reciprocal tariffs as part of a common policy. For example, Algeria charges the US 59% while receiving 30%. Lesotho charges the US 99% and receives 50%. Laos receives 48% while Madagascar receives 47%. Vietnam is charged 46% and Myanmar, despite being devastated by an earthquake, is charged 44%. The US has imposed these tariffs based on the trade deficit with each respective country, rather than the specific circumstances of those countries.
සාපේක්ෂව තීරුබදුවලට සාපේක්ෂව තමයි මේ ආය කිරීම සිද්ධ කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
What is Sri Lanka's response to the US tariffs?
President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake has appointed a committee to conduct an in-depth study on the potential challenges arising from the tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump and to provide recommendations to the government. The committee includes key officials such as the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank, the Chairman of the Board of Investments of Sri Lanka, the Chairman of the Export Development Board of Sri Lanka, the Director General of Economic Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Senior Economic Advisor to the President Duminda Hulangamua, Chief Economic Policy Advisor of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce Shiran Fernando, and industry experts Ashraf Omar, Sharad Amalin and Saif Jaffarji. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has initiated diplomatic discussions regarding the 44% tariff imposed by the US on Sri Lankan imports. Deputy Minister Arun Hemachandra said the discussions have begun with other global markets to mitigate the challenges posed by the new tariffs.
දැනටමත් අපි යම් ආකාරයක අදහස් වමාරු කිරීමක් කරගත්තා.
We have already exchanged views with the US regarding what has transpired. The implementation of the reciprocal tariffs will take place on April 9th. We are trying to negotiate with them to seek a reduction in the tariff before the implementation date. Sri Lanka is facing an extraordinary situation. Although we maintain a favorable trade deficit, the country is engaged in an International Monetary Fund supported program. We are gradually reaching stability after an economic downturn and are working closely with various countries and international agencies. We have the opportunity to explain our situation to them. We need to provide this explanation while considering their policy. We were aware of the policy that would be followed. One country cannot dictate another country's policy implementation, and we cannot intervene in that either. We are engaged in discussions and will continue to engage in talks. At the same time, what are the alternatives? If this is the US tariff policy and it is universal, and if we cannot change it, there are several other alternatives. One is the GSP Plus preferential tariff system, and we can discuss and reach more beneficial terms. We can intervene in the process as well. Additionally, there are complexities in the tariff structure that we follow. We can simplify them and engage in more discussions.
යම් ආකාරයකට සරල කරලා ඉදිරියේදී සාකච්ඡා කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.